'Cause these are the best days. These are the best days. These are the best days of our lives. Of our lives. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crying and Dying with Adam and Lizzie. This is going to be a great episode today. We have some fun family stuff to talk about. But first, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, for supporting us, for those of you who are participating in sponsorship. We are always grateful and hopeful that listeners like you guys will consider financially supporting us, but also, we love it when you share in your Instagram stories, post about us on Facebook, tag us in stuff, any little thing that you can do to help us spread the word and just share our fun podcast with your friends. We're so grateful for every little thing that you guys do. So thank you for listening.
So, Lizzie, what had you crying and dying this past week? Please tell me.
Many things. But one of the highlights is a secret. One of the highlights I'm excited to tell everybody. It has been a long, arduous journey of homeownership in the town that my husband and I live in. It is very competitive. Suddenly, where we live, it's very desirable. And real estate is just, it's just unreasonable. It's silly. And so for locals like us, it's been very impossible to purchase a home. But by a great miracle, and with jumping through many hoops, we are so very near building our own homes. We got the call we've been waiting for this week, and we are hopefully, I'll keep everyone updated, but hopefully we're going to begin construction on our small, little, humble home sometime this next month, which is really wild. And I think we'll be moving into our new homes around the end of the year. So that is what we're pumped about.
It's just an exciting move to have. It's a milestone.
It's a huge milestone, and in a town and a market like what we're dealing with right now, I think it's monumental. There's no way we could afford any existing home. It's just climbing at such shocking rate that truly building something in this new neighborhood that's kind of up and coming in our area, it is reserved for only locals. No more wealthy out-of-towners can scoop up our precious homes in this town. It is locals only for the most part. And so I feel like we finally stand a chance against all the people moving in from Colorado and California.
I feel for you. What's really crazy about my house already is I bought it 2 years ago and the value of it has gone up $30,000 already.
That's nuts.
And my house isn't that big. I don't want to shout out any numbers, but the percentage that it's gone up is pretty insane.
That's fantastic.
And it's not like I've done anything that would warrant the value going up because you did something to it. It's solely the market right now.
Yeah. Do you live in a neighborhood that would be attributing to some of that increase? Would you say your neighborhood is desirable or moderately desirable?
Yeah, it's a very middle-class neighborhood. All the houses in where I live are older. And by older, I mean my house is 100 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Most of them are in that kind of time.
Wow.
We have big trees. I don't know. It's not your 60s, 70s, 80s style houses. Because this neighborhood's been here for so long, apparently.
Wow. That's one thing I deeply desire about a neighborhood is old trees. And so even though we're going to live in this brand new neighborhood, that will have very small brand new trees and small brand new houses. I think it's such a luxury to have mature trees in your neighborhood.
Ironically, so the month I was in between placing the offer and waiting to close, there was a storm and there was a tree in my backyard that half of it fell down. So they asked me if it was okay if they cut it down. And it was a big honking tree. So I don't have that now, which is kind of,
sure,
it's a little sad. But all of my neighbors, for the most part, have big trees.
Did the seller take care of the cost of removing the tree?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. They asked me. I don't know what it would have looked like if they would have left it. It probably would have been weird, but that's one less liability I have of a tree falling on my house,
Sure.
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Last August, we had really, really, really awful storms.
Yeah, you did.
It was called this word I've never heard of called a derecho, which is basically like a land hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that means.
We got the beginning of that storm. So, like, it was starting kind of over here. And so I think if I remember right, it was just like a little bit of hail and strong rain and wind, but nothing compared to what you got.
100-mile-per-hour winds.
Mm-hmm.
It hit most of central Iowa, I want to say.
It's just crazy.
And then like eastern Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
There's a town that my friend lives in, and she got hit worse than I did. I was really lucky. I was at work, and then it like stopped storming. And then I'm like, I'm going to go home and just assess the situation. And I came home, and like I had to take all kinds of weird ways to get to my house because there was no power. There were trees in the road.
That's
so it
crazy.
took me forever to get home. And then I got home and I'm like, it just looks like a freaking war scene. It was really scary. One of my neighbors, their entire tree in their front yard got uprooted. And it wasn't a little
That's
tree,
spooky.
but it just blows my mind. I was hoping that my garage would have got blown over because it's a little rickety.
Yeah.
But that did not happen. I don't think I really wanted to deal with like that, basically.
Yeah.
But we didn't have power for a week. So that sucked in August.
What did you do about work? What did your workplace? What did that week look like?
We had power at work and we have generators at work, but I didn't have power. So, I mean, I was taking, like I had hot water in the hot water heater, but I took like really quick showers and just prayed that it was going to come back. One of my friends works at the utility company and I just kept texting her every day. Why don't you have my power back on? Like she has power to like make it happen.
Yeah.
Cause I'm, that's my personality. Like, what can you do? It is 100 degrees out.
Oh my gosh. I would have lost it. Summertime is not my time to shine.
Oh gosh,
And
it was bad.
If I had to spend a week without AC, I would have been not happy is one word to use for that.
I don't even want to talk about it. It was rough.
That sucks.
Lizzie, so what are we going to talk about this week?
Oh my goodness. This is going to be a fun topic that I think this might not be like the only time we have this topic, but you and I have talked about sharing with everybody fun musings on one of our shared relatives who we mutually grew up calling Grandma Cookie.
Yes, Grandma Cookie.
Should we open with how she acquired that name?
Okay.
You are solely responsible.
I honestly don't know entirely how and who and when, but it was basically my entire life. So it would have been your entire life. So
Absolutely.
so this is Lizzie's grandma, and this is my great grandma. If you don't remember, we have a weird kind of age difference in our family where all of Lizzie's cousins are basically my parents' age and her parents' age, and our dads are basically very close in age. So Grandma Cookie had a cat named Cookie.
An orange cat.
I don't know how the cat got named Cookie, but that's not for today's show. But for whatever reason, that's what we called her, was Grandma Cookie. Most of our life, Grandma lived in this senior living apartment community. And by community, like not like 10 apartments.
It was like a row of connected apartments, and I recall it was all yellow and across the street from a school with a playground.
Yes. In a town of like a few hundred people. I don't know why we called her that.
It probably made sense to you. I've always known that you were the one that bestowed her with that name.
I did?
It was because of the cat. Yeah, that's what I've always been told. Is you started it.
Oh, hell.
And am I under the impression that you were the first of the great-grandkids?
No, I don't think so. No, I wasn't the first, but I wasn't the last.
I think would your brother have been, while she was living, would your brother have been the last of the great-grandkids?
No, I honestly don't know. There's so many people.
Let's not get in. That could get messy, and we don't need to drag our listeners along for our like ramblings of how old people are and who is it.
That's a very like thing in our family. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Anyways, it's like talking about the weather in the Midwest. So she had how many kids? How many siblings were there? Was there 5 or 6?
There's 6.
Okay. She got married in the late 30s and her husband passed away, I believe, of a stroke or some like cardiovascular kind of situation almost exactly a year before I was born in the mid 80s. So I did not know him. And obviously Lizzie did not know him either.
Mm-hmm. Just through stories.
Yep. And I know she was still living in the house that they had together. I feel like it was like they're after the kids' house.
Oh, sure. Their empty nester home?
Yeah. And I think they moved from there a couple years after I was born because I was fortunate enough that my parents had a camcorder for most of my life. So I have a video of grandma coming to our house in, I believe it was 1989.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't have memories of her driving, but that car that she had was definitely parked in our driveway, and it was in this video. So let's go into that just a sec. So I asked my dad this, so if this is wrong, I don't know, blame him. I was told that grandma had a Ford Country Squire. And if you're like me, I don't know what that means. I mean, I knew what car it was, but I didn't know what it was. It's basically your traditional 70s, 80s giant station wagon.
Like a boat, but for the streets.
So the station wagon in the trunk area, you could sit back there and you wouldn't face the front of the car, you would face the back of the car. I know that window in the back rolled down.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
That sounds very fun.
I don't know why I was in that car once.
The back windshield would roll down.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I believe it opened like a door. It wasn't like a trunk where it kind of opens upward. It opened to the side like a door.
To the side. Wow. How many people could you fit in the back?
Probably 80 or 90. I'm just kidding. Probably more than you would ever see in a car today.
That's really wonderful.
So the other thing that's funny about grandma, I don't necessarily have this memory. This is one of those things I've been told, but I can visually see it. Grandma was a heavier set lady. And I say that with love because
Lots of love.
I have a couple extra pounds. And apparently when grandma drove the car, she sat really low in the seat. So just vision her eyeballs in between the top of the steering wheel, how she would see through to drive. So
How tall would she have been, do you suppose?
oh gosh,
Average height for an old lady?
probably not much taller than us. So like lower 5 feet.
Oh man, I'm 5'1".
Oh, okay. Well, some of the sad thing, like I don't remember a lot of her life with a lot of mobility. So
Me
I
too.
honestly don't know. I don't think she was short.
Sure.
I don't know. That's how she drove, apparently. And I know some of the grandkids that were our dad's age and then maybe a little younger
Mm-hmm.
have memories of her driving. And all I know and I hear from them is it was terrifying because she apparently drove really fast.
That's really exciting.
Just imagine this lady that you can't even see her hardly, just like driving this boat around and going
Oh my
really fast. Like that
gosh.
had to have been terrifying.
Coming around the corner with a boat. Oh my god.
I bet that car could have been on land and water and it would have been fine.
Completely fine. That brings me a lot of joy to picture. I have heard the exact same stories that it was an adventure to get in the car with her and that most of the grandkids got to experience something in the station wagon with her.
Yeah, I don't have many memories, really any memories of her like that, but I have this one video, and I don't know, there might be more, but I have this video I've converted it from VHS to digital. So I have it, like I could play it right now, and it like brings me a lot of joy, and I don't know.
Because she's sitting in the same posture, but in the house.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so true. I didn't even think of that. So in this video, she's sitting in this recliner. I just feel like she had to have had like scoliosis or some kind of like,
just a curvature.
I don't know, your bones. I feel like she would have taken like, Sally Fields promoted a drug called Boniva.
Sally Fields.
I feel like grandma would have taken a drug called Boniva.
Or named a second cat that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. What I love about how she would, when you told me about how she would sit in the car, and after you showed me that clip of her sitting low in a chair watching you play as a little kid, what I love about that is that in recent days, perhaps I have discovered myself assuming the same posture in the car. Not while I drive, but as a passenger.
Oh.
I was appalled. It was recent, like within the last couple weeks. I was sitting in such a way in the car. I was so shocked that I like immediately like sat up as straight as I could to like knock it off. But I don't recall that I've ever sat that way while I drive. I unfortunately have made a reputation for myself for leaning quite close to the steering wheel while I drive, and apparently some people have reported that I'm quite the sight to see on the highway.
Oh, and I need to also mention, Grandma also did not sit back. She was really close to the steering wheel.
Me too.
Yeah, so when you say that,
But I'm 5'1", like I have to be close.
okay, maybe she wasn't very tall. I'm going to have to ask somebody. I don't know why I need to know that.
I'm going to guess between 5'5" and 5'3". That's going to be my guess.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Based on the women in our family on that side.
Okay, yeah, let's be honest. Nobody in this family is tall. Nobody.
No one.
None of her kids were tall.
None of her kids were, but if there's two people that I can think of that are tall, just like without looking at pictures, I think of your dad and your dad's male cousin from the oldest of your grandma's siblings. Those are the two that I can picture in my head as being the tallest.
If it's who I'm thinking of, I believe yes.
Because I think that gentleman's daughters appear very tall as well.
Oh, yes. They're really skinny. I don't know. They must have got that gene from another side of the family.
Rare blessing that is not bestowed on very many of us.
Oh.
5 people or less.
Yeah, out of like 800, 1% or less are greater than like 5'7". So one thing that was funny is Grandma didn't really understand technology in the day. The other story I've heard, apparently when cable changed from so TVs used to have like a crank turn thing, and they only had like 12 channels or something. And apparently when that started to get higher, she didn't understand that she didn't need to buy a new TV to get these channels. And apparently that was an ordeal, which I think is kind of funny.
So she bought a second TV?
She probably did.
I didn't know any of this.
I bet she was a home shopping network shopper or something like that.
And Avon. We're gonna unpack her Avon stuff in a minute. Absolutely. I think she was a catalog shopper, if I could guess.
Yeah. What else? Oh, and the other thing, she didn't understand how the camcorder works. So she thought it had to be like taken to be developed.
How wonderful.
Yeah. So that's kind of funny. But the video clip I have, they're watching Wheel of Fortune, and I think that's really funny.
She's watching Wheel of Fortune, but also watching you, like, just playing on the floor as a toddler. That makes me really happy.
I don't think I was even 2 yet. Maybe I was. I don't remember. I'm surprised Grandma got the car on the driveway. I was really hoping to see a video of her just parking the car on the front lawn because I feel like that's something that could have happened. And maybe it did.
I'm sure it probably did. Oh my goodness. That brings me a lot of joy.
I wonder when she quit driving.
I mean, probably just a few years after that.
I hope so. I don't know when they sold their house and she moved into that apartment.
I'm gonna guess, I think there's pictures of me as an infant in her arms, I think, in that apartment. I think. And so I'm gonna guess somewhere around 91 or 92.
I'm probably going to go like 91.
Because I know there's pictures of me and your brother, because your brother's birthday's in the summer, right?
Yes.
Okay, there's pictures of me and your brother as newborns together laying on a folding table at the community center. And everyone's, just gawking at these two babies. And I know that she was there. I feel like I have a picture somewhere of me being held as an infant in that apartment. So that had to have been like late of 92. I'm going to guess the summer of 92. Okay, so because she passed away when I was very young and my family didn't grow up near your family, so it was always just like a family trip to go visit family. I know that our grandma Cookie was a collector of Avon things. Like in the 70s. The items that I possess of hers are from the 70s. And so I'm going to do my best to just verbalize. We're going to do like an audio show and share time I'm really excited about. And several of the items that I have 5 things in front of me that belonged to her. And most of them are jewelry. And I would say... and I think I've mentioned it on the show before. Something I think that's really fun is that anytime we would come and visit in Iowa, me and my sister would be allowed to dig through a shoebox of Grandma Cookie's. She had a lot of like bulky costume jewelry that to, a 6 or 7-year-old girl, that was probably like a blast. And I think all the sisters had a section of this jewelry collection because I would visit your grandma and her sisters, and there was always a shoebox of jewelry, and my sister and I were always allowed to choose one piece to take home, and they divided it up over the years. Like I remember visiting many different times and being offered a necklace out of the shoebox. And so I think that is how perhaps I've acquired a couple of these pieces, or I was given them. I think they were periodically mailed as like a birthday gift. So the first item is it's a single gemstone on a chain, and it has like a really high setting. So it's a solitaire gemstone that I want to say is a garnet, which is my birthstone, but it's not quite as dark red as a garnet should be, I think, but it's lovely. And I don't think I've ever taken it to a jeweler to have it like identified or appraised. And I don't wear it because I do think the setting that it's in isn't quite tight enough that the stone might come loose. But I have just this lovely stone. So that's probably the simpler of the things I have. And I am going to assume it was from Avon, but I don't have anything that tells me specifically. And I love that like gold chain jewelry in like short gold chain necklaces are coming back into style, but in like a classy way. And so I have this like short necklace. It's gold. It's definitely gold. Genuine gold, I'm very sure. And I'd say every inch or so, there's if you do any sewing, you would know what a French knot is. It looks like French knots, but they're made of gold. And they are every 1 inch, there's a knot in this chain, but like with textured metals. It's very interesting, and I'm glad that the fashion has come back around. And so I occasionally wear it because it's back in fashion, and it's really pretty. I don't think this came from Avon because this is real gold for sure, but I like it. I think it's fun. I've been hanging on to it since I was a kid. Hey, Lizzie here. If you're a business owner like me that provides virtual and one-on-one services, stick around. I have something special just for you. When I first started out as a business owner, I would piece together different free online tools to try and bootstrap and save money. My scheduler was on one website, my invoicing was from another, my emails were all over the place, and I had no centralized location for tracking my projects. Because things were so scattered, my clients didn't receive the quality experience they deserved from me. All of that changed when I switched to HoneyBook. HoneyBook is a client relationship management program that allows me to keep all of my most important digital tools under one location. With HoneyBook, I can accomplish all my most important tasks. Things like sending proposals, invoices, and contracts with digital signatures. I can automate emails, store my email templates, book client calls, track expenses, generate reports, and keep all of my client deliverables under one clean and clear platform. My clients love it too. There is one centralized portal for them to view past invoices, pay current invoices, store their contract, receive digital deliverables, and book their monthly sessions with me. I cannot say enough good things about HoneyBook. I really wouldn't have my business without it. Get 20% off your first year plus a free trial at cryinanddying.com/honeybook.
I remember where she had her jewelry. I believe it was like up by her TV. I think that was like on a dresser of some kind. Do you know that she used to wear wigs?
No.
Yeah. And I don't believe it was like because she didn't have hair or like any kind of reason. I think it was just because she didn't like to do it. You didn't know that?
Oh my goodness. This is wonderful new information. I'm very excited about this.
I remember not understanding that as a kid. I saw the wig like on a mannequin head.
Where in this very small part of Iowa, where was this woman acquiring wigs? Who was
Catalog.
helping? Someone had to have been helping her get them.
I'm not sure. And I don't know how often she wore them, but I know she did because I know they existed.
I bet they were catalogs. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know why I just thought of that because I didn't think you would know that.
This is a situation where I feel like we need pics or it didn't happen.
I'm going to text my mom. Please continue
That
with
made
your
me
jewelry
really
show.
happy. Oh my jewelry show.
I need you to vision while you're talking about this grandma wearing a wig.
And like flipping through the Avon catalog, picking out the items I'm about to describe.
Yeah.
This brings me so much joy. Okay, this is my favorite piece and probably my most prized piece. I was given this. Your grandmother gave this to me when I was older. I want to say maybe late middle school or very early high school. I do know we visited around Easter time of my freshman year of high school. So possibly this was given to me then. If you want a visual of this item, all you need to do is Google search the Avon Sweetheart spoon ring. This is a 1970s piece. It's not actually from a spoon, but looks like it's in the style of a spoon ring, so it's a wraparound ring. It's sterling silver. It has hearts and flowers on the end and wraps
really
around
pretty.
like really beautifully, yeah. And I wore this ring for all of high school into college. It's a little on the bigger side, but I wore this ring without fail for years. And I believe it was given to me, I'm going to guess my freshman year of high school. So that's going to be 2006, 2007. So this is probably my most favorite piece. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wore it for years and years. Always took good care of it because it's sterling silver. And when I was looking it up today, just to like remember what it was called by Avon, the value of it has really gone up. I would say a few years ago, last time I checked, the value was somewhere between like $30 and $40. And now I'm seeing it listed online for about $60. I have no idea how much it would have cost in the 1970s. I do know this is from the 1970s, and the inside of the ring says Avon. And I can see where it would have been stamped with the like kind of sterling silver. So I don't know if you can see that from here. Oh, probably not. But on the inside of the ring, it says Avon, which I think is funny. But I know exactly that it was given to me by your grandma. And it's something that I wore it for years and years. The next Avon item I have, if you want to get a picture of what it looks like, Google search or go on Etsy, and type in vintage ladies perfume bottle. And this was from a like Americana type collection. These aren't very valuable, but it appears to be like a figurine. And if you pop the torso of the lady, like if you pop it off, the skirt, the bottom half is the jar for the perfume. And I believe it was given to me as a very, very young child. Still full of perfume. I don't know how she got this in the mail, but I know she mailed it to me before she passed. She mailed it to me. I got in trouble with some kind of, I'm sure I spilled the perfume somewhere, and I got in trouble, and the whole perfume got poured out in the yard outside. So it is empty, but I can still smell it when I open it after all these years, and it smells like old lady perfume.
That's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's really cool.
So it's part of a collection that, so let me further describe it. So the one that I'm holding is mostly yellow, so the torso is all yellow.
It's a person.
Yeah, and the skirt is yellow with green scalloped shapes and pink roses with like some tiny purple accent flowers. It was part of a matching set. I think there was 3. I think this came in a set of 4 based on my research. It isn't, I think the going price for this set is maybe $30, but I don't know if that's with the perfume or without. But this is definitely from Avon. And it was also in the 1970s. So that's just like a fun little treasure that I've always kept of hers. My last item I don't believe is from Avon, but I should Google and see what company this little figurine is from. It's just a porcelain figurine. She's short and it looks like the kind of thing you'd see in an antique store. She's a little gal with a big lavender dress, and she's holding a bouquet with flowers, and there are some stones embedded in it that look like red rhinestones. But as a kid, I told myself they were rubies. And there's lots of gold. There's gold leaf on it. And unfortunately, one of her arms broke off, so she has a half an arm.
Oh. This would be in a curio cabinet where the kids can't touch it.
No. So I'm very curious why this was given to me in the late 90s before she passed. I'm sure it was mailed. It was something that was on her dresser, and she wanted to send me a birthday present, and this was just mailed to me. I can't even describe what year this would have been from. Can you even think? I mean, I think this is older than the 70s. This feels like 50s or 60s, maybe. I will look up. There's a scripted company name that I can't even begin to pronounce on the bottom, and also a sticker that says Japan. So I don't know, but it is porcelain. It is very fine and fragile.
And even if these things came from like a Walmart, it doesn't even matter.
Right. They're precious and they're treasures. So that was my show and share time. Thanks for tuning in.
That was fun. I have something that I want to share. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if this was like a thing with Grandma, but she sent out a Christmas letter the year before she passed. Or not the year, it was a Christmas before she passed. So she passed in April of 99, and this was from Christmas of 98. And I remember that I helped her with this. So when she moved from the apartment, she moved into a nursing home. I have a lot of memories there. I think my mom found this. So I just wanted to read it. It's not very long, but it says, "Dear folks." That's very like something that she would say. "It's that time again, so I may not write a lot, but you'll know you're in my thoughts. Adam decorated my tree
Sure, that's within context.
window today, and this decorated my window." Sorry, she hand wrote this, so I'm struggling just a skosh reading it because it's in cursive and kind of messy cursive. Decorated something in window today, and they decorated the mirror on the bathroom door. We'll have 2 new grandchildren before another year comes along. Have a nice year. With love to all.
You said this was 98?
Yeah, it says 98 up here. It's hard to read, but I know that's what it says.
The two kids, the two babies that she's referring to are absolutely my brother. And who would the other one have been? The cousin I was referring to earlier that's very tall, that has two daughters. I wonder if it was the oldest of.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Or it might not even have been the oldest. It was one of their kids.
Well, I think their youngest just graduated high school this year. And
the other one graduated college this year.
Right. And so that would make her probably, my brother's 22. So that would make her about 22 as well. So I bet it was her.
Yeah. I don't know. I have this.
I can't maybe like pinpoint where I have a letter or two of hers as well that always included a crisp $2 bill. Our family.
Oh, yes.
There are many of the ladies in our family all worked at local small community banks. And so someone would send a crisp bill. As a kid, I didn't understand or value. I'm like, $5, what's this for? But like, I understood the value like later, just the crisp brand new bill. But as a kid, me too. I know I have the $2 bills in an envelope in our lockbox, but I think I must have only one or two letters of her left. As a kid, it always stood out to me the way she made her L's, her capital L's. When you look at that letter that she wrote, the way she would write the capital L, it would come down and then almost have a hump, almost like an H. And as a kid learning to read and trying to read, a grown-up's almost cursive handwriting, that always stood out to me. I'm in overdrive.
Hey, it's Adam. I wanted to tell you about a service I've been using for over 10 years called Audible. Audible is the world's largest producer and provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. I've been a member for about 10 years and have listened to hundreds of books. As someone with ADHD, Audible has given me a way to connect with books in a different way. One of the best things about reading is that you get to feel something that isn't your own experience. Audible gives that plus a little more. Even if you're not a person who reads often, you will still enjoy this service. As a listener of Crying and Dying, we wanted to offer our listeners a chance to try Audible for free for 30 days. To take advantage of this offer and to learn more, go to cryinganddying.com/audible. That's cryinganddying.com/AUDIBLE Audible. Audible is truly one of the best services I have and think you'll enjoy it as well. Now back to the show. One other memory I have of her that would be very different from yours. I mentioned on the last episode, I believe, that I played the piano, and they had a piano at the nursing home. And I remember I would play for her all the time.
Oh.
And I believe I made like programs of like what songs I was playing.
Would you handwrite them and hand them out?
I don't honestly remember. But I remember that I did that. So, I mean, I hadn't played that long, probably a couple years at that point.
Wow.
We would roll her down in the wheelchair to the, community room. And I don't know, maybe other people came. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I found that while we've been talking, I did some research and I found the doll that I was trying to describe. It is called a Vintage Joseph Originals, and the figurine I have, I was not born in July, but it is the July Ruby Birthday Girl figurine. The going price right now on Etsy is $35, and so it's really interesting to like identify what this is. I am also going to guess this isn't Avon, but it's definitely something from a catalog for sure. But it's not saying what year this could have been, but it's very pretty. How fun.
Yeah. Do you remember her funeral? Were you old enough?
I wasn't. No, the last time my dad went on an airplane was for the funeral, and I remember being at church that Sunday and asking one of the grown-ups at church, "Have you seen my dad?" because I forgot that he was gone.
Oh.
And another grown up is like, he's not here, honey. He's gone. That's the only thing I remember of her funeral or her passing.
I vaguely know kind of her health. It was a health reason why she passed, I believe. And I remember her being in the hospital. I feel like she wasn't there very long, like a couple days maybe. I don't remember, but she wasn't like super conscious. I remember. So I wasn't there when she passed, but I know I had seen her within a couple days of that. I know the church where her funeral was is no longer there because they tore that church down and built a
Am
new
I
one.
under the impression that it's the same church that a wedding took place? That there was a wedding of my uncle and his wife got married shortly, I would say 98 or 99.
Maybe
Because she was present for that wedding. I know she was there and my dad wasn't. Was it the same church?
it was in the town where the apartment was. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then maybe not.
Yeah. I do know this is kind of funny and this is very much her personality. So this must have been her thoughts when my great grandpa and her husband passed away. The plot that they bought at the cemetery is right off of the road, like the cemetery road. And she specifically did that so that we wouldn't have, she'd say, so you didn't have to get out of the car to see her.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's very fun.
You literally don't have to get out of the car to see her, like, because it's right off the road, which is really funny.
That's very interesting. It has been long enough since I have visited their plot that I don't remember that detail. How exciting.
It's like on a corner almost of the cemetery road.
That sounds mildly familiar.
Yeah.
I can think of maybe one last detail of like my memories with her. I remember she had a magnetic checkerboard set and it was very small, very, very small. And she had like a metal TV tray that was like next to her recliner in her living room. And they put a little chair in front of that for me. And that was how I learned how to play checkers. And each little checker piece was a small magnet. Like it was a plastic piece with a magnet on the bottom, and the board was magnetic, and it was sitting on like a metal TV tray. So nothing could get bumped, I'm going to guess. That's the only interactions I remember with her, but I remember having fun, and I remember the cat named Cookie.
Oh. Every time we were there, we would always get circus peanuts. You know, that nasty orange candy?
My husband loves them. Did she just have them in the house?
Yeah, every time you were there.
The same way there would be like butterscotch candies inside of a glass thing. I didn't know
Really
that.
random. Yeah.
Why circus peanuts?
Don't know, because she was old and I don't know.
That was her vibe. How funny. She seemed more like those weird strawberry candies or the butterscotch. Or lemon drops. That seems more her vibe, I feel like. Yeah.
Pretty sure she had that too. I know our aunts that lived in that town took really good care of her.
Yeah, they did. They really, really did.
They lived down the street and they both worked at the bank in the town of a couple hundred people.
This town is like what you would see on like the postcard of like small town Midwest America, like a small town square, and all of the like businesses are in like one square of the town. And one of our relatives, he had a barber shop for a long time. And I visited. Did you ever get a piece of bubble gum if you ever went to visit at the barber shop? Did you ever receive bubble gum?
I don't remember that. I know we went there sometimes.
There was a big bucket of bubble gum, and no bubble gum in the world ever tasted as good as what I received the couple times I went in there.
I know when he retired, which was probably only like 10 years ago, if that.
I would say maybe less. It's kind of recently.
I don't think that anybody like bought it, and I don't think it's still operating.
There was other businesses too.
Yeah, there was a tractor supply store where I think they sold John Deere tractors.
Probably.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My mom texted me back. So I texted her about the wigs, and she said she confirmed that was true. That is true. And you know what's really ironic about us bringing this up? And I don't know that either of us consciously knew this, but her birthday is 2 days from now.
Wow. How interesting.
Like that was meant to be. Oh gosh,
that was
I got
really
chills.
meant to be. Oh, happy birthday, Grandma Cookie.
Yes.
How old would she be? 100 and something.
Let me get the calculator out. Okay, 2021 minus 1912. 109.
109. Ah,
Yeah.
that's a good note to end on. Happy birthday, Grandma Cookie.
Yeah. This podcast is really for us, and this episode is especially for us.
Yeah.
I know we have family that listens, so I know they'll appreciate it, but
I think the family that listens hopefully will appreciate that. I mean, we have a very limited and different perspective on who she was and our relationship with her based on, the enormous age differences. And our stories will be very, very wildly different from the infinite stories they have. But I hope whoever listened enjoyed a fun little walk down the family lane.
yeah. She's the reason why both of us are here. I mean, let's
That's
be
true.
honest.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's pretty deep.
That's really deep.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this podcast if it weren't for her.
No, we really wouldn't. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this fun, special little episode. And we will see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.